DJ Envy. Now, shout out to Real Estate Heat TV. They got the hottest new real estate channel. Shout out to my man, real estate coach, AnThony Legins.
Hey, welcome to another episode of How to Buy the Hood. I am your host, coach, and mentor, AnThony Legins. And I am so excited to be able to bring another episode to you here today. But before I really get started, I want to give a shout out to my main man, Rec Room Remixes. B. Langster in the house doing his thing, laced me up with these super dope Superman shoes, customized, put my old rap name on the back. I used to rap back in the day. TCO, you know what I'm saying? So shout out Rec Room Remixes, man. Good looking out, my brother. That's how we build each other, you know what I mean? And that's what this is all about. It's about uplifting each other, helping us build and just build with each other as far as relationships go, and definitely build and grow in developing our communities and buying our neighborhoods and buying our houses and fixing them and getting them and restoring them back to decent, nice homes for nice families to move into. But tonight's episode, I really want to talk about experience I had a few years ago where I rapidly built $1 million real estate company in a 12-month period. It was actually like 18 months, but in a 12-month period, we did over $1 million. So I want to share this story. This is real life. I actually wrote an article about this. If you guys don't know, I'm also an author. I've been published in Entrepreneur's Handbook, 2 different articles. And I've also wrote several real estate books that you can Google and check out on Amazon. And also I'm giving away free copies of one of my best-selling books, the Detroit Real Estate Handbook. And you'll find the link below with the coupon to get it for free. So, but tonight I want to share with you an article that I wrote for Medium.com that was published in Entrepreneurs Magazine. It's called How I Made and Lost $1 million in Real Estate. And this is how the story goes. So my story began when I was living in Detroit, and I had just gone through a rough divorce. It had felt like my life was falling apart, and I was depressed. My ex-wife was living in the house that we once owned together, and I was basically homeless, living in hotel rooms. This definitely wasn't the high point of my life or career, for that matter. But then I met Billy Sims, number 20, 1978 Heisman Trophy winner, and former All-Pro running back for the Detroit Lions. Now, by chance, I posted some Craigslist ads advertising homes for lease in Oakland County. And I figured that this was the quickest way to put some cash in my pocket because leases are easy to do, and I would earn a fast commission equal to half month of the rent, rather. But to my surprise, Billy contacted me about a home and said he was looking for a corporate lease so that he didn't have to stay in hotels every time he came to town. Now, he owns a few restaurants here in Michigan called Billy Sims Barbecue and also around the country. But and he also comes to town for autograph signings and personal appearances. Now, at first, I thought it was a hoax. However, I was invited to attend a fundraising event being held at Barry Gordy's old mansion in the Boston Edison Historic District in Detroit. And lo and behold, I met Billy Sims in person, and this was not a hoax. And we hit it off right away, and he invited me to attend another fundraising event that was being held downtown at the Yacht Club. And I met some few other celebrities there and also some politicians. And let me tell you, it was a fantastic day, to say the least. We began working together along with his partner named Chief. Chief was very smart and ambitious. He was the brains to the operation and ran everything behind the scenes. I admired Chief, and during the time that we worked together, he was my mentor. They made me a minority owner in an investment company that they had recently formed. We met with and dealt with high-profile people and millionaires because of Billy's celebrity status. And things went on for about a year, but the company never took off like we wanted it to, and we didn't really make any money together. I have a young son and a daughter, and I was struggling myself from after my divorce. So I had to make the tough decision to part ways with Billy and Chief and focus on making some money. During the time we were working together, though, I wrote and published a book called the Detroit Real Estate Handbook. And at the time, it was titled Everything You Need to Know Before Investing in the Detroit Real Estate Market. Now, it had started off as a pet project, and I didn't really expect for it to make any type of impact, to be honest with you. But at the time, I just had a strong desire to get this information out to the public because I had seen so many investors over the years lose their shirt. I mean, they were falling victim to con men and basically didn't know what they were getting into. Little did I know that this book would open up the door and set the stage for me to start a new company that would gross over $1 million in a 12-month period. Now, a couple of months after publishing the book, I was contacted by a California investor that was working with a group of investors that were taking a hard look at investing in Detroit real estate. She wanted to hire me as a consultant to train her staff on the ins and outs of the Detroit real estate market and also act as a third-party consultant to their transactions. They wanted to make sure that they weren't being taken advantage of. And I don't blame them in Detroit. Initially, I would just take pictures and videos of properties for them. And I would provide a market analysis on the properties and determine after repair values for their potential investments. Now, they had already established contact with several local residential developers and would have me meet with them in person, actually, to conduct interviews for them. They eventually decided to work with a Canadian residential developer who also had several properties for sale in Detroit. Now, since the investors would only buy the properties based on my professional recommendations, I worked out an agreement with the developer to pay me a commission on the sales and also negotiated with the investment group to allow me to represent them as a buyer's agent in the transactions for an additional fee. And then things got off to a booming start. The investors would fly into Detroit and the developer and I would provide them with a tour of the city, showing them some of the nicer and historic neighborhoods of Detroit, including a tour of the developer's properties. Now, the investor group was very impressed and began to make offers on most of the developer's inventory. Now, problems began when the investor couldn't keep up with the demand. He agreed that the properties would be rehabbed and tenant ready by the time of closing. However, he got overwhelmed by the huge demand and there were serious delays in getting the properties rehabbed as he promised. I'm certain, that it was a cash flow situation causing the delay, but he would probably never admit to that. But things started to become tense between the developer and the investment group. This is when I sensed an opportunity. I thought, why don't I become a residential developer and sell my properties to the investors? It was a great idea. Now, however, there were two major problems. I didn't have any properties to sell them, and I didn't have any money. But I didn't let this stop me. The thought came to me to contact an investor that I knew. And he had purchased several investment properties with me over the years. Now, as a matter of fact, he was one of my very first clients when I got licensed back in 2004. And he was also a contractor. So I called him and talked about the opportunity and asked him if he wanted to get involved. He agreed. So we worked out a deal that he would rehab a good investment property at his own expense, and I would then sell the property at market value to my investment group. We would then split the profits earned after expenses. Now, it was a win-win situation, actually a win-win-win situation. We completed our first project with success, and as agreed, we split the profits after expenses, and I immediately reinvested into another property. And we developed a similar program to the Canadian developer, but we also offer property management services. I would find great deals in good areas of Detroit. We would completely gut and rehab the properties, and then we would place tenants after the rehab was done. Now, since I had already earned the trust and respect of the California Investment Group, it was easy to sell them on the idea of our program. And we were off and running. Now, we continued to have success, and after 3 short months, we were bringing in over 100,000 to 150,000 gross sales per month. And business continued to grow, and new opportunities opened up for us to continue our success. However, about a year into our partnership, we butted heads. My partner was in charge of construction, and I was in charge of sales, acquisitions, and property management. Now, at the end of every closing, we would have a meeting and set aside the funds needed to acquire new properties and the funds to complete construction with ongoing projects. Minor issues started to turn into major problems. We were having delays on projects, and funds were coming up short. Now, in my eagerness to continue and keep things afloat, I severed our partnership and brought in a new partner. My new partner was an investor, not a contractor, so I assumed the mantle as head of construction. Now, at the time, my thought process was, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Now, that wasn't one of my best ideas. I decided to become a one-man show. I was in charge of sales, acquisition, construction, customer relations, and property management. I slowly became overwhelmed with all the new responsibilities. We were having success on the sales side, but things were unraveling on the construction and property management side. Now, although I had hired and brought in a construction manager and had assistants helping me, my lack of experience as a residential developer and my greed, to be honest with you, to make as much money as I could had consequences. And I began to buckle under the pressure. Now, to keep the investors buying, I was paying the rents on properties out of pocket because some tenants were either not paying or paying late. I didn't want to rock the boat and cause the investors to panic. Now, the final blow is when 7 of my properties were broken into and stripped of everything. And I mean everything except the carpet. They stole the kitchen cabinets, the countertops, the sinks, the toilets, the vanities, the furnaces, the hot water tanks, the plumbing, the electrical, everything. It was well orchestrated, and I had my suspicions on who was behind it, but I couldn't prove it. I lost tens of thousands of dollars due to these break-ins, and it basically put me out of business for good. I didn't have the funds needed to complete the construction projects. Then I lost the faith and confidence of my investors. And just as quickly as I made $1 million, I lost it right back due to poor decisions, greed, and lack of experience. I bit off more than I could chew, and it bit me right back in the rear. They say that hindsight is 20/20, so here are some takeaways from the hard lessons that I learned. Now, takeaway number 1, if you are having problems in your business partnership, first try to sit down and resolve your issues before taking drastic actions based on emotions. Takeaway number 2, invest in security for your vacant properties. Do not fail to take adequate security measures because property theft is a common occurrence and the losses can be devastating. Takeaway number 3, it takes more than one person to run and operate a successful development company. You can easily become overwhelmed if you try to do everything. Don't risk losing it all by being a one-man show. Takeaway number 4, don't let greed dictate your actions. There's a saying in the hood that all money ain't good money. Now, just because you can make fast money doesn't always mean that you should. Take all factors into consideration. A win-win or a win-win-win may actually just be a win for you. Takeaway number 5, honesty is the best policy. In hindsight, I should have let my investors know that tenants weren't paying the rents or were paying late instead of covering up and paying out of pocket. And if things were not going according to plan, show integrity and own up to this fact and accept full responsibility. Now, you may lose business as a result, but you will retain your respect and dignity. And, you know, that's very true. This is a true story, very heartfelt. This was back around the 2014, 2015 era. And, you know, I learned, you know, some very hard lessons from that experience. And, you know, I just thought that it'd be beneficial to share, you know, because I've had to, over the years since then, you know, rebuild my confidence in myself and my abilities, you know, because it was devastating to have went from, you know, at a period of time, you know, bringing in 6 figures a month, you know, to, you know, bringing in, you know, next to nothing a month. So, I mean, for a short period of time, that is. But, you know, thankfully, you know, back on my feet, you know, we're doing great. You know, life is good, you know, and I want to bring this knowledge to you, you know, and, you know, this is very much a passion of mine to share with you so that you can learn from me and the things that I've done and the mistakes that I made so that you can hopefully not make those same mistakes and at the same time draw from my successes and take those things and put them into practice. So, you know, I was very aggressive in trying to buy the hood at the time, and I kind of bit off more than I could chew. So make sure that when you do begin to start taking advantage of opportunities in your neighborhood, that you build a good team around you. Give me a call, though. You know, give me a call. My number's down below. Let's talk about it. You know, I'm a real estate coach. I'm also a consultant. I've consulted many businesses and different investors on how to structure their game plan to become the most successful. And actually, even help several investors over the years make millions of dollars. So, you know, get with me. I can help you. You know, I hope you benefited from how I made and lost $1 million in real estate. But let's stick to the made part. I want you to make that money. I know you can make that money. I believe in you. Let's buy the hood. Let's take things back under our control. AnThony Legins, and I'm out.